fight fans? Welcome to the show, The Undercard. I'm your host, Jeff. And let me say, holy fuck, was last night's fight hype as fuck. I mean, oh my god. This thing had everything. Memorable knockouts, great fucking tilts, what a great card. I was so pumped for this card. So many good fights on this card. Um, it was just top notch. I mean, we got to see some young talent in the prelims. That young kid, Song Young John from China, is an amazing up and young coming prospect. We also saw a female in the strawweight division not have like the best outing, but somebody that's evolving their game. So it was nice to see that. You also saw up and coming talent from, I believe he is Cuban or Colombian. I could be wrong. But Marlon Vera, wow, what a great scrap he also had. And Arnold Allen, like I said, this prelim had a bunch of young up and coming talent that are going to be pushing to be fighting on the main cards real soon. And on that main card was just stacked. I mean, from top to bottom, just great action. I mean, to start the night off on the main card, Diego Sanchez versus Michael Chiesa. Great scrap. We also had Jan and Luke Rockhold. Like the names of these fighters, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. Next, after that, we had Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. And then after that was Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holmes. And then after that, fucking John Bones Jones versus Thiago Santos. I mean, holy fuck. What an amazing card this was. Just stacked card. It's been a while since we've seen a stacked card like this. I was super pumped. Was looking forward to this for like the past month, and I wasn't disappointed. But with that all being said, let's get into some of the fights. All right, so like we mentioned at the start of the show, this it just got off to a bang right off the start. We got to see high level talent. We got to see a young up and coming prospect, only 21 years old, hailing from China. I don't know if many of you know, but the UFC has just recently opened up a UFC Performance Institute in China. They're committed to China. They're committed to growing the sport in China. They're going to be coming up with some great athletes. They've got 3 Chinese athletes right now that are ranked in the UFC. So, I mean, bright things coming from that country. And, I mean, with the discipline and focus that the Chinese people are known for, they are going to start producing some high-level talent, I guarantee you. So don't be sleeping on these Chinese fighters. Song Yangdong had come in to fight no slouch, Sometimes they give these young kids kind of like feeder fights, you know what I mean? Let them build their confidence up so that the next fight they can achieve something bigger and better, you know what I mean? It's about kind of building up their confidence, building up their skill set. But let me tell you, full skill set on display tonight. He was fighting a no slouch. He was fighting Alejandro Perez. Perez is another guy that is known to throw some big shots. Seasoned veteran. He was 21-7 coming into this fight. And this one just, you could tell already right off the bat that Song was just on another level. I mean, like, I hate to compare body types, you know what I mean? But Song just looked so solid for a 21-year-old. And the composure that Song showed early on, wasn't chasing a knockout, was setting up his shots, was taking his time. Even though there was a KO in the first round, he wasn't just putting it out there looking for a knockout. He was setting things up brilliant. He was patient. He showed his calmness. He showed that for even a young kid that he's got ring generalship, and that's something that I talk about lots. But having command of the ring is huge in fighting. You get to dictate where the fight goes. You get to dictate the pace of the fight. And let me tell you, the coaches of Song says his hands aren't even his best tool set. And when he landed that nasty right hand, let me tell you, that was a shot heard around the world. That was probably one of the more sickening thuds I've heard in a while. Just nasty. Um, just very solid by these two fighters. Yeah, so nothing much to be said. Prez is definitely, like I said, no slouch. Unfortunately, just can't keep with these young guns. Maybe he's gonna have to move down a weight class, or he's gonna have to pick up his conditioning. I'm just not too sure. He definitely did not have the. Well, I don't want to say that he didn't have the power. He just unfortunately he got caught. Right. It seemed that he didn't have the speed. It seemed that coming out of that clinch, that he was a little bit slow, didn't have his guard up, and he just got dummied. It was rough. But not one of the nastiest knockouts that we've seen in recent fights recently. All right, so the second fight in the prelims was in the strawweight women's division. It was against Claudia Gabriela. I think I said that right. Claudia, I apologize for butchering your name. I will try to get it right for the next time. She was facing Canada's own Ronda Marcos. Ronda Marcos fights out of Windsor, Ontario. Shout out to Windsor, Ontario. Whoop, whoop. And let me tell you, this was probably the one fight. This was probably the only fight of the night that was kind of a drag, kind of a boring fight. I really don't like to commentate on a fight I don't like to talk. Well, I don't like to say bad things. I don't want you guys to think that I'm like talking shit about this. You know what I mean? Like, even though I've called it a boring fight, I want you guys to understand that this was a prelim fight, and that Claudia was trying to show her evolution as a fighter. Claudia is known as a brawler, and she has been working recently with Mark Henry's team, and she's trying to tighten up her game a lot, right? So that she can become a bigger, complete, better MMA fighter, right? Because that's what this game is all about, right? Self-improvement and betterment, right? So, like I said, she just recently moved and switched camps. She's now working with Mark Henry. But she looked half decent in this fight. I mean, like I said, it's nothing too impressive. Great ring generalship, had control. These two kind of came out throwing a lot of 1-2 combos. It was very pretty predictive. Nobody was really pushing the pace. It looked like they were either it looked like there was a lot of respect between the two fighters. They did manage to come in and throw a couple scraps, but they threw down a couple of times, but they weren't really willing to sit in that pocket and kind of push it. Marco definitely had a couple of great strikes. Same with Claudia. Like I said, it's just very back and forth. And this was just a very weird fight. They kind of just stood in front of each other. Nobody really shot for a takedown. And nobody was really looking for a KO. They were looking to set something up, but not really looking to finish. Now Ronda, she was coming off of a spectacular finish in her last fight, and she's been working recently with a sports psychologist, right? And unfortunately, I guess she's going to need a little bit more work, because she seemed like she was unable to pull the trigger, because for whatever reason, she was doing good when she actually did pull that trigger, right? And I don't know if it was just a psychological thing. I don't know if she was gassed, because she definitely didn't look gassed, but definitely needed to be the aggressor. Definitely needed to recognize that late in that second round that she was not winning this fight, that she needed to come out in the third round and do something impressive. And nothing really happened in the third round, much like the first, much like the second. They stood around, they kind of danced around each other, kind of the 1-2 setup, and then back up, reset, back at it again, right? This was a very easy decision for Claudia. Claudia is now 17-4. We're going to see her again sometime soon. And you know, I really liked what Claudia had to say at the end of the fight. Like she said, she had apologized that the fight wasn't exciting, but she wanted to remind the crowd that she's been doing it for like 15 years, right? You know, her whole adult life she's been in that ring fighting, you know. And it goes to say the whole like, I'm not a big fan of the North American audience. They're pretty uneducated. They're just out here for blood, right? And the one thing that confuses the fuck out of me is that, like, you know, if that's what you want to see is KO and knockouts, how come fucking Muay Thai is not a bigger sport in North America? Fucking perplexes me. I think maybe it's just like the blood factor. You know what I mean? I think the North Americans, they just want to see blood. They don't necessarily even want to see fucking KOs, right? Because like, if you watch fucking KO, right? If you watch fucking Muay Thai, if you watch fucking Glory, you're going to see fucking KOs. That's the one thing that's always perplexed me. I just don't understand the mindset of most of these people. It's crazy. Anyways, that being said, I love Claudia's answers. She was very brilliant. She was very direct. You know what I mean? She had silenced the naysayers saying that she gasses out too early. She proved that she could fight a full 15-minute fight. Obviously, 15-minute fights a lot different from the championship fights. But that being said, she did look good. She didn't look gassed. She showed that she could. She had good hands. That she had good control of that ring. Right. So good for her. Good for her sticking to her guns, and good for her for trying something new. Much like we saw. Who's the other fighter there that fights with Conor McGregor? Changes. Oh shit, Dylan Dan, I think it is. Yeah, Dylan Dan. Last his fight in Bellator, right? He knew that he had the skill advantage over his opponent, right? So he tried to do different things. You know what I mean? And that's okay. You know, like you need to recognize when you have an advantage over a person, and you need to try your skill set. You need to get yourself out of that comfort zone and try new things and try different things, right? So more credit to Claudia. All the power and respect go to you. Can't wait to see you get back into that ring again. And as for Ronda, you know, just got to get back on that horse, got to get back on that drawing board, and I think she really needs to work on her boxing. And surprisingly, there wasn't a lot of leg kicks in this fight, you know what I mean? So maybe she needs to work a little bit on that kickboxing. She had this very weird, unorthodox stance coming into the fight, very low and just strange. It looked like she was getting ready to shoot in for a takedown, but the takedown never came, right? So, you know, back to the drawing board, you know. Unfortunately, you know, an L sucks, but at the same time, too, it could be a good learning point. So hopefully she learns from this, and we get to see Ronda back in this octagon soon. Ooh, this next fight was hype. This was a really good scrap. This was a fight that was taken on short notice. It was a scrap between Marlon Vera versus Noel Hernandez. Noel Hernandez is a relatively newcomer to MMA. He has he's a prolific striker. He's a kickboxer. Vera is like I had mentioned, he's a young and up and coming talent, very exciting fighter. He has got a ton of victories, a couple of KOs, a couple of submissions. He is like I said, very exciting fighter. Very very talented. This fight from both fighters. I mean, even Noel for his first scrap in the UFC handled the pressure. Didn't look like he was too scared of you know what I mean, of the task at hand, right? You know, like, well, once you fight, you're not really that scared, right? But that kind of like initial walk-in for the first time, right? You know, that can always kind of like give you a little bit of butterflies. But if you had any of those, it definitely wasn't showing. That's for sure. This fight started off pretty hype, you know, and you know, it kind of went the predicted route that you would think it goes. So, like, this is your classic boxer versus grappler, and early on in the onset, they tried to throw a little bit of paint, but Vera was able to get him down to the ground. Was able to apply a body triangle early. Looked like he had the body triangle in. At first, it looked like Noel was in trouble. It looked like Vera had that triangle in so deep that he was possibly going to sink in that rear naked choke afterwards, because Vera, for whatever reason, was turning the wrong way during the body triangle, and he was actually going to end up making grip of that triangle a lot tighter and harder. But he showed patience, showed some good skill, and he was able to eventually work his way out of that body triangle, get to the top position, and land some significant strikes of his own. He actually, at the end of that round, I would say it was easily scored to him because of the damage that he did. And just mainly the damage. He threw some like nasty shots, some nasty elbows. Not that he really had, not that he would really stunned him, but Vera definitely knew he was in a fight after that. It was very close, right? It was very surprising to see that, that he wasn't able to control essentially like a kickboxer on the ground, right? I mean, even after working off of your back, right? You got to be able to control your opponent. I mean, that's whole part of the jiu-jitsu game, right? You got to be able to hold your opponent down, and he was letting him posture up and tee off on him, right? I'm not sure exactly if he was looking for something, because I mean, like, he did try and transition from body triangle to an arm bar, but he ended up having to let that go. And it's just weird because, like, you normally, like, you pull those hands in, you grab that head, and you keep them down, right? Noel, props to him, was able to pop out and land some ground and pound. It was weird because, like, in the second round, he went back. He was the one that actually shot and took down Vera, right? And he was looking to land some more ground and pound. He felt like he was the more stronger, confident fighter on the ground. And Vera looked like he was in trouble for a little bit. During the second round, they managed to get back up, and they were starting to trade a little bit of paint again. Vera was in danger. He looked like he was a little bit stunned. But let me tell you guys, all of a sudden, like, poof, just like that, the fight changed, They got up. They came off of this, they came off of a break, right? And then he just hit him with a nasty fucking knee. Just landed a nasty knee. I guess he knew that he was going to come down and shoot again for the takedown. Vera had timed it right and just unloaded him. And that was it. Boom. Fight over in the second round. I mean, it was like Vera knew that he had lost the first round, and that, like, halfway through this second round, he knew that he was already behind in the cards, and that he was he looked a little bit on the gas side, and he looked like he was a little bit hurt, right? And then all of a sudden, poof, that switch flipped, and boom, the killer came out in him. Let me tell you, vicious fucking knee. Done for. Let me tell you, that's not the only vicious knee that was had this night. But anyways, great scrap. Can't wait to see what's next for Marlon Vera. The bantamweight is, slowly becoming one of my favorite divisions. I mean, we still got all these young incomers. I must say, I would like to see Marlon Vera versus Song Yong Dong. That's the next fight in my wish list. I want to see that fight next. We'll put that on a main card. You know what I mean? The first fight of a main card. That's what I want to see. No prelim bullshit. These guys are the future of the sports. Noel and Hernandez, mad props to this guy. He took the fight on short notice, came from a different organization to pick this fight up. The other organization was gracious enough to let him go from his contract so that he could go and fight in the big show. So more props to whoever that organization is. You guys fucking rock. Props to you guys that you guys don't hold guys back on their fucking careers, man. Um, but yeah, all in all, looking forward to seeing both these fighters again, and hopefully Noel can improve on his game. I liked what he had shown us, and it's nice to seeing these elite level strikers showing some elite level striking even on the ground and pound. Because I mean, like he was just loading up on shots. It was amazing, right? It was something to see. All right, so the last fight of the prelims before the main card was well, it wasn't as hype as fuck, but we had some pretty big names. Another up and comer, fucking Arnold Allen. This dude, keep an eye on him. Holy fuck, complete package. He was in against a legend, a tough opponent, somebody that's no slouch. But unfortunately, somebody that's been off for 2 years, and it showed. And he was fighting Gilbert Melendez. Now, most of y'all should recognize that name. He's a Strikeforce two-time, I think, featherweight champion. And or maybe he was the bantamweight champion. I can't remember. He was one of these lightweights, but a guy that's no slouch, a guy that has knockout power. A guy that he's been there and seen it all. But I think at the end of the day, this was a tale of age. Honestly, right off the bat, Gilbert looked soft. I mean, but Gilbert's always kind of looked soft in the midsection, right? So you can't really hold that against him, He's one of those weird body types that you never know. You're kind of like, is this guy a legit fighter? Because I mean, you looked at Arnold Allen, and Arnold Allen was just douche, just fucking jacked, right? He looked like a big boy. Let me tell you. This fight started off all right. It looked like for the first 2.5 minutes, Gilbert was in absolute control, was getting the better of the shots. He looked like he had Allen backing up. Gilbert had the center of the ring. He was in control of that ring. And then, sure enough, slowly, it seemed after they've had a couple exchanges, Allen got more comfortable the longer this fight got on. And by the end of the first round, Allen was just in complete control. Like, what a different fight it all of a sudden became. Allen just had an amazing game plan right off the bat. You know what I mean? For like another young kid, this is another guy that was switching up the levels, throwing lots of kicks, but he wasn't throwing just high kicks. He was working body, he was throwing shots to the body, right? He was keeping Gilbert unbalanced for the entire fight. He kept Gilbert backing up. Gilbert, like I had said at the start of this, I think it was an age thing, because at the end of the day, Gilbert looked like A, he was gassed, B, looked super slow compared to Allen, right? And 35 myself, I'm no longer a fucking spring chicken, and fighting these young dudes with fucking that speed and those fucking skill sets can be fucking detrimental to an old man's health. Let me tell you, Gilbert's tough as fuck, didn't get knocked out, but had this been a 5-rounder, I think Allen would have ended up fucking put to sleep. Gilbert, tough as fuck, don't want to take nothing away from him, great fucking competitor, fucking legend, but I think it's time to hang him up, or he needs to move down a weight class or something, either that or, pack on some muscle, because it looks like that featherweight division has got some big fucking boys in it for whatever reason, It's crazy. It's crazy what some of these guys do get down to like these ridiculously small fucking weights, you know what I mean? Like take a guy like in this next fight, Michael Ciesa. Right, here's a guy that's fighting at 170 pounds. He's like 6'1", and he was fighting in the 155 pound. Right, like that's just ridiculous. Put on a little bit of weight, move up a weight class, go be a big boy. You know what I mean? Like guys who cut that much fucking weight it's just cheap, right? It's just you don't want to go and fight guys your own fucking talent. You're just looking to go and fight guys who are smaller than you. And be honest, we all know what's up. Not cool. Anyways, Arnold Allen won the decision. Just very technical, very sound fighter, very calm fighter. Did not look to go and chase for fucking a KO or anything like that. And I'm just really impressed with some of these young fighters coming up. In the boxing world and in the MMA. It seems like dudes are very, very talented at a age, and they've got like degree, like an experience where they're fighting for like years. It's very impressive, very, very impressive. The future is bright for this sport. Well, the future is bright for all combats. All right, well, we're gonna get into the main card now, and the first fight of the night was with Diego Sanchez and Michael Chiesa. Before we start talking about this fight, this weekend they had the 2019 UFC induction into the Hall of Fame, and Diego Sanchez was part of that class. He also got inducted with Clay Guida. I think y'all can remember that legendary tilt between Clay and Diego. Very hype fight from back in the day. If you guys haven't seen it, do yourselves a favor, look it up. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Fucking hype as fuck. Great, great scrap. It's one of those scraps that's up there with like the Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner fight. Just legendary fighters. Diego, old school. I mean, like, I can't believe this guy is still fighting. Been fighting since he's the original Ultimate Fighter. This guy is just a beast. Challenge that he won't accept. Just overall good dude. I've been a big fan of Diego Sanchez for years. When he gets into that ring, he is all fucking business. But outside of that ring, he's the nicest individual you will ever fucking come across. It's crazy. It kind of reminds me. He kind of reminds me of like Mike Tyson a little bit. He's very quiet outside of the ring, kind of like head down. Mind keeps to himself, right? And then as soon as he enters that ring, just a fucking beast. Fucking scary fucking individual. And what a skill set that the guy's got, right? And tough as fucking nails. I mean, Diego Sanchez has to be like on everyone's list of like favorite fighters. If you're not a Diego Sanchez fan, you're not a fucking MMA fan. Straight up. I don't give a fuck. I'll dispute that against anybody. Anyways, he was fighting Michael Chiesa. It was a welterweight battle. Unfortunately, Diego was just in tough. Chiesa's just a very, very tall fighter. I think Chiesa's like 6'1" or something like that. Diego's only 5'9", 5'10" at the best. And length definitely seemed to be causing all kinds of problems. But at the same time, too, holy fucking stackability. Jesus Christ, Chiesa. I mean, fighting this dude is just a smothering fucking experience. It just seemed that anytime Diego scrambled out of anything, that Chiesa was just on top of him all the time. Was just able to continually stack and stack and stack on Diego. Had to be very frustrating. But like I said too, Diego, fucking, you gotta love this dude. He just fucking powers through, keeps on fighting, and he just don't give up, like fucking, he knew he was behind the whole goddamn time, and he was still trying to make something happen, Fucking, there was one point in the fight where Chiesa had Diego's back, and he was throwing like elbows to his head, and Diego was just throwing elbows to his fucking thigh, right? Just didn't give a fuck, right? Like, I mean, not that I would be trading fucking thigh fucking elbows for fucking head elbows, but that's just the kind of Diego is, right? Just no fucks given, You gotta fucking go out there and leave it all on the line, right? And that's why Diego Sanchez definitely deserves to be in the UFC Hall of Fame for sure. For sure. Like I says, for the most part, this was just a ground battle. Chiesa was just able to, stay on top of Diego for the most part. I felt though that when you're that dominant of a fighter, that you need to do something with it. especially if you're trying to make that push to the big boys, right? You know, if you want to be taken seriously with the rest of the people competing out there, you got to be able to put away fights, right? Fortunately, like I do recognize that wrestling is probably the most important skill set in UFC or in MMA, just to be honest. However, they need to get a little bit more aggressive with the rest. Wrestlers play it way too safe and just way too boring. You know, I think wrestlers definitely need to recognize when they've got this advantage and fucking pour it on. You know, it just ended up being like we were watching a boring GSP. You know, you're an amazing wrestler, but what else can you do, right? And I mean, if Ciesa was able to go and submit Diego Sanchez, it would have been probably the biggest win of his career. I mean, like, not the biggest win, but the biggest feather in his hat. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? To be the very first person to submit Diego Sanchez, fuck, that's almost as fucking big as being the fucking champ right there, you know? Like, I'm that guy that submitted Diego Sanchez. Imagine being that guy. You know, it seemed like I said, it's just a a very skillful fight. Don't get me wrong. It was awesome to see Diego. Diego many times was like popping out of bad situations, but like I said, CS is just so goddamn amazing. You know what I mean? He was able to get out of the rear naked. Was able to just always stay on top of him, apply pressure. Just never really gave Diego anywhere to go, and you know, like I said, this is one of the more kind of uneventful fights. But you know, as for skill wise, like you can't blame Ciesa, right? It's putting him in there into the mix now. He should be fighting some ranked opponents next, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes. All right. So after that, we had Jan Blachowicz, Jan Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. And wow, some fireworks in this one. Let me tell you. Um, First of all, before we even get into the fight, I guess Luke Rockhold came into this fight with a seriously nasty staph infection. It was so bad that he had a sleeve on his leg. Apparently, he's had like several fucking surgeries on the leg. You could see that it was like still stitched up. He had, well, you could still see that it was still stitched. The covering really didn't do much, but it was weird that like he was even commissioned to go out there with the staph infection being that bad. But you know, I've seen some stranger things go. Anyways, this was kind of a strange. I'm not sure exactly what Luke was looking to do in this fight. You know, on paper, it seemed that Luke was the more prolific striker, but for whatever reason, you know, like he started off with a couple strikes. He started, you know, he started kicking to the body, kicking to the head, and it looked really good. Looked really, really good. You know what I mean? I thought he was just gonna kind of like pick him apart, you know. And then for whatever reason, Luke was trying to make this like an ugly fight. You know what I mean? I think maybe he was worried about Jan's power, which I mean clearly he should be because Jan is a big boy. But it looked like he was looking to hold him up against the cage and gas him out a little bit. I don't know. It proved to be a shitty strategy because, you know, it went from being like Luke having complete control to Luke eating a couple of elbows in the clinch. You know what I mean? On the cage. And coming out of it, he just did not look like the stronger fighter after that. You know what I mean? He got wobbled. And then close to the end of the first round there with like maybe like 10 seconds, fucking, they had like an exchange where they were clinched. They broke apart, and Jan came in and just tagged him right on the chin, and then he threw this nasty fucking head kick right at the end of the fucking bell. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, not right at the end of the bell because it wasn't a cheap shot, right? It looked like a cheap shot at first because of the way everything is in real time. But Jan was already throwing the kick, then the bell rang, and then the kick landed on Luke's fucking head and fucking dazed his ass. He was fucking done. But surprisingly, credits to fucking Luke Rockhold, dude's tough as fucking nails, was able to come out in the second round, and he actually looked to push the pace against Jan and came out, but Jan kind of Jan knew that Luke was definitely rocked still, right? And took advantage. They clinched up again, and then Jan just put him to sleep with a monster left. It was quite the knockout. Huge shot, but styles make fights, right? And sometimes when you get away from the game plan, you get into trouble, right? Luke definitely needs to figure a few things out, right? Not sure exactly what went on here. Not sure exactly why he would have pushed the fight as it was. Being the better striker, he should have just stayed on the outside. Ring generalship, like I've mentioned, like I talk about, you know what I mean? When you've got more skill than your opponent, then you have to be the smarter one, right? You can't just put yourself in a bad position, right? And I have no idea why he was trying to gas him out so early, right? It was weird, just so weird, right? I mean, I could see if your jabbing and your kicking is not being effective, but for whatever reason, he did not want to break that clinch, and he ate a couple elbows, and I think those elbows stunned him because, like I said, almost got knocked out at the end of the first. And had that been another like 10 seconds, he would have been done for because Jan would have been all over him, right? And he would have been done, right? So, definitely had to come out swinging in the second round, which, props to Luke, he fucking did, right? He was shooting for the fucking stars, right? Unfortunately, Jan was able to clinch him up, fucking get the better of him breaking out of that clinch, right? Just KO'd his ass, and it was rather unfortunate, but these things happen. Anyways, Jan must have been super happy because leading up to this, in particular Rockhold fashion, he just talked a whole bunch of shit, right? And Jan was able to dust that off. On to the next one. That's why it's not good to fucking talk a lot of shit, Gotta stay fucking humble, folks. Never know when it's your fucking turn to go to sleep. Holy shit. Let me tell you, this next fight, Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren. Wow. Flying fucking knee. Shot heard around the world. 5 fucking seconds. God damn. Jorge Masvidal, congratulations. You are now the proud owner of the fastest knockout in UFC history. Damn, son. Set that up beautifully. Knew that Askren was going to shoot in. And let me tell you, it was just an amazing setup. It looked like he was going to slow walk him a little bit. And then all of a sudden, boom, done for. Knew that Ben was going to shoot in right away. I mean, it was just time beautiful, time perfect, just nasty. I mean, Ben was a stiff fucking board. But, like I had mentioned in the previous segment, you gotta learn to be fucking humble. And let me tell you, after that last fight against fucking, against Robbie Lawler, that was a little bit of karma, I think, coming back to bite Ben Askren in the fucking ass, I think before, at the end of that fight, Ben was asked, if they think that he should have a rematch against Lawler, and he says, no, I need to move forward, blah, 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 but there was a lot of controversy, I mean, a lot of people still think you did not win that fight against Lawler, for whatever reason, you didn't want to fucking man up, and unfortunately, this is one of those sports where you have to man up, you have to fucking prove your fucking worth, you know what I mean? And I love Ben Askren. The dude's fucking amazing. Got an amazing fucking wrestling skill. One of the best wrestlers on the fucking face of this planet. But this is MMA, son. Fucking Jorge. Bad blood with this dude. Fucking these guys go back from 10 years. Ben was talking so much shit about how he used to school Masvidal back in the fucking day. You know what I mean? So, maybe he was overlooking his opponent. I don't know. Very dangerous thing to be doing. You can't fucking sleep on anybody in the fucking MMA world. You know what I mean? Like fucking any fucking given day, you can get fucking KO'd. That's what happened. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be honest. Like Ben Askren's got one of the worst bodies in the fucking UFC. But dude's got fucking talent. But it makes you wonder, what is his conditioning level at? You know what I mean? Like, not that, like, even if he was, like, conditioned great, that, like, you know what I mean? It would have helped him eat that fucking shot, because I don't think anybody was going to eat that fuck. That was nasty. But you kind of wonder where his dedication and his level is at all this, you know what I mean? I'm not judging his fucking skill-wise, you know what I mean? The dude's got all the skills in the world, right? But in the modern age of MMA, to be a one-dimensional fighter is fucking unheard of. It's crazy. We're going back to like the Mark Coleman days, right? The fucking, Gracie days. It's weird, right? Like maybe this shit'll work with like back with Kevin Randleman. You know what I mean? Like the glory days of old, right? But like not in today's UFC, man. Like this isn't no longer style versus style, right? Like, and you can't even be like a two style fighter anyways, you know what I mean? Even like when I was training MMA, I was training fucking Baja Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, right? You know what I mean? And even then, that's not even enough of a complete tool set to fucking compete in these days. You need to have fucking boxing skills, you need to have fucking judo skills, you need to have fucking wrestling skills, like it's a totally different fucking beast, you know what I mean? Like, in my personal opinion, we are in the third generation of MMA fighters. You know what I mean? MMA used to be style versus style. Then we had, you know what I mean, like a good stretch there where it was like guys like bringing in, you know what I mean, different styles. And then the new generation of guys like Rory McDonald, you know what I mean? That generation from the Rory era on, you know what I mean? These guys are like true fucking martial artists. And I've got no problem saying that, you know what I mean? Like these guys study every fucking discipline and just like top-notch skills, right? It's crazy, right? So to think that, like, you know what I mean, that you're fighting in the modern era without this fucking skill set is just mind-blowing. I don't know. Anyways, the only thing that I haven't mentioned to say is, like, I do understand there was a lot of bad blood between Jorge and Ben, but Jorge could have acted a little bit more stoic, I guess. You know what I mean? He just seemed like a really, really poor sport. After he like dropped him and like made him into a stiff board, he was running around and like he even dropped to the ground like a stiff board, stiffened right up. I don't really like for that fucking antics. You know what I mean? Like if he had knocked him out and just stood over top of him with a fucking hand like this, you know what I mean? That for me, I would have been cool with that. I'm like, yo, Jorge Masvidal is the baddest fucking man on the fucking planet. But to go and shit talk a guy when he's fucking KO'd already, I mean, like, you kind of make yourself look bad. You got to, you gotta watch that out. You gotta watch that. And don't get me wrong, I understand the heat of the moment, a lot of fucking bad blood, but, you just decimated your opponent. There's no need for any of that fucking shit. You put your hand out, you look at him, you fucking stand over top of him so that he fucking knows. And that's it. Right? No need to fucking showboat like that. That shit's fucking ugly. And hopefully that shit doesn't come back to fucking bite him in the ass. Because there's only one thing in this world that I fear, and that is karma, folks. Because that's the only fucking thing that's unexplainable that I have fucking seen work time and time again. Anyways, Looking forward to see Jorge Masvidal fight next. I think he's gonna get a fucking title shot real fucking soon, and Carl Usman versus Jorge Masvidal should be fucking hype as fuck. Definitely looking forward to that. Ooh-wee, this fight card just keeps getting better and better. Up next, we had Amanda Nunes versus my girl, Holly Holm. Fucking huge Holly Holm fan. Fucking, the girl striking is amazing. Fucking hell of a fucking fighter. She only really got into MMA when she was like 29 years old, you know what I mean? So, I mean, just remarkable, She was definitely the crowd favorite, you know what I mean? The preacher's daughter fucking definitely had the crowd behind her. They were chanting for her as she was coming in. They were chanting for her at the outstart of the fight. But Amanda Nunes, let me tell you guys, holy fuck, an assassin. The greatest fucking female fighter to have ever graced God's earth. It's fucking... you can't dispute it anymore. There's no way to dispute it. Right? Destroyed Ronda Rousey, destroyed fucking Holly Holm, and destroyed Cyborg. Wow, that's quite the fucking resume right there. Let me tell you, that's the big names right there. Fucking big huge things. They need to really start pumping the fuck out of Amanda Nunes, right? Amanda Nunes just as effectively cleaned out two fucking divisions, right? The only fight that we would think of next is if another sweetheart of mine that I fucking absolutely love, Vitaly Shevchenko, she comes out and or Valerie Shevchenko comes out and fights her, right? Those two have already had a scrap where it was a pretty good scrap, right? She seems to be the only one that's able to push Nunes, so maybe we'll see that again in the future. But let me tell you, holy hell! What a high kick this was. This was another one of those timed perfect strikes. And Amanda was looking to knock her out with a high kick, right? She had said that in the after fight, they knew that Holly was going to be throwing those high thigh kicks to check. And if you guys watched the knockout, Holly's actually got her leg up in the air trying to go for one of those thigh kicks, and Amanda Nunes times it right and just throws the high kick. Fucking KO'd Holly. Not one of the worst KOs. It was a quick little flash knockout. Amanda was able to fucking get on her real quick and land some big shots, but over in just, it was just quick, very spirited tilt between the two. Holly looked great early on, but looked like Amanda had that timing down, and just with that fucking kick, put Holly down on her ass, and that was it. Not much else to be said. Like I said, it's unfortunate for Holly. We'd like to see Holly back in the ring as soon as possible again. Hopefully she can, earn her way to another title defense. Like I said, Holly Holm's one of my favorite fighters. She was one of my favorite fighters going into the UFC. I actually had placed $500 bet on Holly Holm to knock the fuck out of Ronda Rousey. Holly, mwah, I love you. You made me lots of money that night. Lots and lots and lots of money. So thank you, Holly. Anyways, like I said, it's interesting to see what's gonna happen in this women's division. But Amanda Nunes, don't sleep on her. She has definitely got to be the biggest and brightest star UFC. Amazing. Just amazing. All right, speaking of amazing, last but not least, our main event, Jones Bones Jones versus Thiago Santos. Thiago Santos is prolific knockout artist, has the most knockouts in the UFC, or he's tied for the most knockouts in the UFC. And this dude is part of that third generation that I was talking about. These dudes that are all fucking super complete fucking athletes, you know what I mean? It's a scary world coming up out there. And it was nice to finally see somebody go in there and push fucking John Jones around. You know what I mean? Push the fucking pace. And had it not been for whatever happened to Santos' knee, I had think that Santos was gonna win that fight. In fact, I don't know if maybe it's my hate for John Jones that wants to see him lose, but I personally had it on my cards. It was 48-47 for Thiago. Thiago, in my opinion, won the first round, won the second round, and won that fifth round. John Jones only won the third and the fourth round because Thiago was dealing with his leg because his leg had fucking given out on him. I mean, holy fuck, I think throughout the course of that fight, Thiago's leg buckled. At least it had to be 20 plus. 20 plus times. And you know what? Dude's fucking tough as fucking nails, you know? He was still throwing fucking wheel kicks, spinning kicks on that fucking leg. He wasn't throwing that leg that was injured. He wasn't kicking with that leg. He was planting with that fucking leg. And still throwing power. It was fucking phenomenal to see. He was probably the first person to actually implicate a game that many people have actually tried to implicate against John Bones Jones. He attacked that leg. Holy fuck, did he ever attack that leg? At the end of the first round, Jones had a fucking big old welt on his thigh, on the inside of his thigh. And at the end of the fight, Jones actually needed help walking off. Had his arms around dudes as he was like going to the back because his legs got beat the fuck up. Even at the end of the fight, Jones gave all the respect to the world to Thiago. He said he got beat up, you know what I mean? He said that some holes were shown in his game and that he's got room to improve. Now, Jones claims that he didn't try to take him to the ground because he felt like he was winning in the stand-up game the whole time, which, I don't know, I think that's debatable. I know, like, Jones was landing at a higher volume, but he was definitely not landing the power shots. But speaking of that, too, holy fuck, the chin on John Jones, man. Let me tell you, like, had he been hit by had Thiago been hitting anybody else, I think he would have been fucking putting them to sleep. That's for sure. That's the one thing that really shocked me most about this fight is that I think John Jones, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he got clocked with clean shots at least 20 plus times. Like, Thiago would come in and land like 1-2 clean shots all the time on him, you know what I mean? Coming in with a stiff straight and then come in with a cross, right? And just landing. And Jones, he can just take a fucking punch. Now, like I said, fucking Thiago's leg was very compromised in this fight, you know? Like, at the end of the, I believe it happened in the first round. Early in the first round. It had happened. They had gone to show the replay at one point before he went to go and leg kick Jones, and you could literally see the joint like pop out of the fucking. It was just horrific. I mean, like I did the whole like turned away from the screen, you know, because like I fucking hate that shit. Like I've fucked up my knees, and my knees are very. I get a little bit cringy when I see that type of shit. But you know, it makes you wonder if he was not on a compromised leg, how much more power he would have had to fucking throw. You know what I mean? And fuck, there's no other fight that I want to see other than fucking John Jones and a healthy Thiago Silva. I mean, really, who else do we want to see? I don't want to see a fucking Jones DC fucking fight. You know, maybe if Stipe beats fucking Cormier, maybe I'm interested in a Stipe fucking John Jones, but like I'm not even really interested in that, to be honest. I'm more interested in this fight over again, over and over and over. Like I said, I still think John Jones lost this fight, you know, but to be the champ, you have to beat the champ, right? So, you know, when it goes to decisions, it's not really a beat, right? So that being said, still a hell of a fucking scrap. Amazing fucking tilt. One of the top fights in the last little bit that we've seen. It was really, really great to see somebody go in there and push the pace of John Jones. I really thought that when John Jones went to go and fight Gustafsson for the second time, that we were possibly going to see Gustafsson push him around again like he did in that first fight. But Jones showed that he was not in shape for that first fight because he fucking wiped the floor with Gustafsson in their second, right? So it's nice to see a guy like Thiago come out and hang. It's very impressive. I mean, that had to be. I don't know. I don't know if you can call it. I don't know. I don't know where all the performance of the nights were. I don't know what the KO of the night was. You know, I'm pretty sure KO of the night must have gone to Jorge Masvidal because fucking, let's just face it, Dana White hates the fuck out of Ben Askren. He must have been so fucking happy when he got fucking knocked out. I bet you fucking Dana White was doing fucking cartwheels in that fucking arena. You know? Just fucking handstands, just fucking wilding the fuck out. I bet he even fucking cut him in the fucking press conference right afterwards. He's like, you're a scrub, you lost, you're cut, get the fuck out of here, right? Wouldn't surprise me. But, you know, I would definitely say this Thiago and fucking Jones fight of the night, you know? Fucking good scrap, right? Jones, it was nice to see Jones kind of like out of his element for a little bit, you know, like clearly lost 2 rounds. Jones kind of like got his shit together in the 3rd and 4th. Started to stalk a little bit. In the 3rd, he was able to put a little bit of punishment on. You know, the 4th was a little bit, was more Jones, but Thiago's kind of getting his shit together. But I definitely think Thiago won that last round. Anyways, like I says, we're going to have to see these two do it up again. But that's it for this week's episode, guys. Thank you so much for chilling out and hanging with me. Look to see you guys here next week. Next week we're going to be doing some Bellator, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, peace out. Love y'all.